All right, good morning, good afternoon. Let's talk about what to do when you're not seeing any progress. So welcome. I'm Kim, as you know, and yeah, love to have you here. Drop comments below where you're watching from, and let's get into what to do when you're not seeing any progress. So if you're like any of the overworked corporate women that I work with, what you'll realize is that you are doing lots of things. So one of the common mistakes that I see is having lots of to-do lists, constantly working on something, and having this thought, like, if I can only work harder and be more productive, then I'm going to get the results that I want to get. So those are some of the common mistakes that I see that a lot of overworked corporate women make. So what happens if we could let go of some or even all of that, right? I'm not saying you throw out the to-do list entirely. I do want you to take a realistic look at it and want you to look at how do you really look at making progress. So what can you do so that you're making progress and start to feel much more like a successful, purpose-filled woman, because you're getting the results that you want, you're getting the progress that you want to see. So what happens when you've got that? So for me, what I found is that most successful, purpose-filled women really have one big thing, well, a couple big things, let's be honest. But one of those is that they're able to recognize the progress, they're able to see the results, and they're able to celebrate the wins along the way. So if you're looking for that, because one of those advantages of having that ability is that you're going to feel a lot happier in where you're at. You're also going to be able to just experience more life in the present versus constantly looking to when you'll have achieved something down the road. So what do you do, right? Because this might be one of those big questions of what are you going to do? So if you're not seeing any progress right now, I want you to do a couple of things. The first one is to really start looking for your wins. So what wins are you seeing that are around you? And if you think this only happens to you, hey, I'll stick my hand up and be the first one to say, I've had this as well. And this is why I love working with coaches, because I am a coach, but I also work with coaches for myself. And I start every conversation. I also start the conversations with my clients with, what was your win for this week? And there's a very big reason to do this, because our brains will automatically focus towards the negative. So pull it back and start to focus on, what is your win? So what is your win that you have achieved? Big or small? Sometimes the win is, you know what? I got up, I showed up, I'm doing the work. Great, fantastic. What are other wins? What are other small things along the way that you have done, right? I'll be honest, there are days sometimes it's like the biggest win for me is I got my children, they're fed, they're clothed, they're having fun, and I got dinner on the table in time, they're in bed, and I can now sit and read a book, or I can work on something at this moment in time. I've got a few minutes, right? Whatever that win is, but recognize the win. The second thing I really want you to do is, when you're looking at finding progress, or you're really wanting to make some progress, is to start by chunking things down. So make things smaller. So rather than looking at a project and having a really massive project, break it down into a lot smaller milestones. So if you might know, my background is also in project management, so we always had lots of milestones along the way so that you could start seeing progress. But also for you, if whatever the project is, don't make it huge. Break it down. So if you can break it down into smaller pieces that are actually just a lot smaller. So if you're going to have a project that's, for example, if you're going to write a book, for example, just a crazy idea, right? Would you want the milestone to be that you've written the book? Or can we break that down into milestones of, hey, you know what? I've selected the title. I have written the introduction. I have done a outline, right? Completed an outline. I have finished the first chapter. I finished the second chapter. What that does is, because you've chunked it down, so made it smaller, and you can celebrate each of those wins. And that motivates you to continue to go forward, to actually get your progress. And the best part is because you've made it, chunked it down, you've made it smaller, you're actually going to see a lot more results and progress than you would have if you were waiting for that big book reveal or the book print to actually happen. So if you are finding yourself really struggling, you're overworking, and you're not getting to where you want to be, then I want you to look at it from a sense of, how do I break it down into smaller chunks? Okay? Smaller chunks are going to keep you having the win, which is going to give you, in a sense, that hit a dopamine that your brain needs to go, yay, and wants to keep moving on to the next part of that. So if you've got that, just to recap where we're at, okay? If you're not making any progress, you're not seeing, I'm not going to say, rephrase that, because you may be making progress, but you're not seeing it. So if you are not seeing any progress or the results that you're looking for, there's two things that you can do. One is recognize the wins that are happening, okay? Big or small, and especially if you're not seeing any progress, look for all of the small wins along the way. What did you get accomplished? What has been finished? What progress have you made? So recognize those wins. Don't look simply for the very end goal before you start recognizing your wins. And two, I want you to also chunk things down. So take a big project and make it into several smaller projects that are really in short time frames, so that you can start to recognize your progress. You can see it. You can, that's your checklist, right? You can check. I've got that done. I've got that done. That gives you the dopamine hit for your brain to go, hey, that's great. So there is what you can start doing if you're not seeing any progress. What I will say, though, with a little bit of a caveat, is it's not going to be enough if you don't start working on mastering your mindset. So if you want to learn more about mastering your mindset and how you can really start controlling what you're thinking and feeling so that you're showing up and getting the results that you really want, then I want you to look and join the community and join the conversation at kimguymakers.com. You're going to find lots of resources there as well, and I would love to have you part of that community. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments along the way. I will happily answer them. After this live, let me know that you've watched it, what you liked about it, what was your biggest takeaway, and I will see you again soon.